Hey, you verbose bards and bardettes. Welcome back to I Cast Vicious Mockery. I'm Austin.
I'm Matt.
And today, do you know what we're doing today?
No, I'm unclear. We bounced back and forth on various topics, and I'm
For
actually...
like 5 minutes before the show started. we hit record.
Yeah, we hit
right?
record.
It's going.
And then we figured
you
out.
guys don't see this before we pull up the curtain and everything.
Yeah.
Right? But we've been talking for quite a while about we've completely run out of ideas for the show.
Yeah, I think we're
washed up.
We're has-beens.
We're dried out, used up has-beens, right?
I mean,
No, actually, it's going great. It's going great.
Yeah.
The only thing is, we had too many topics. We had too many.
Yeah, and some of them we touched on before, but still had more to say, and it's like it's kind of hard to figure out where to fit those in. But we'll do it. We'll just let it flow where it flows, you know.
That said, here's the thing. We can talk about any of this stuff forever,
basically,
pretty much.
Yeah.
So we've got enough material for the rest of our lives. But you listening to this are part of the equation here. If there's a certain thing that you want to hear more about, or you want to think more about it for yourself, and so we're a good excuse to do that. I think. Let us know. Yeah, we'll talk about it more. You could be on our show too, probably, if you're one of the people listening to this right now, because there aren't that many yet.
Yeah, and chances are we know you personally.
If not, it's only like 1 degree of separation right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did I tell you that a sort of a friend of a friend heard about our podcast and was really excited to start listening to it?
Oh,
isn't that cool?
Yeah,
like it's already starting to spread out.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't expect even our friends to put up with this.
No, I didn't either. I'm actually surprised how long they've stuck to listening to it.
Yeah, well,
sort of.
I'm thrilled that people at least are feigning excitement when a new episode comes out.
At least pretending. Yeah.
It makes me feel good, dude. So thanks for that. And if that's real excitement, which it really seems like it is.
It does, yeah, it does.
You're either destined for Hollywood, or all of you, or I should say thank you again.
Yeah, really.
Thank you so much.
Really, thank you. Yeah, to anybody who's listening, and in the future, if there are like a lot of people who aren't personal friends of ours who are listening. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
And if you came back here, let me just tell you, we were at 12 subscribers on the day we recorded this.
Yeah.
So
1, 2.
Like we don't really know if this is going anywhere.
Yeah.
And if it did, whoo boy, it surprised us. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will have snuck up on us.
For sure.
If that happens. And if not, I'm happy to keep going for another 150 more. Actually, I got to talk to you about that.
Okay.
I found out. So actually, my hard drive is kind of filling up from this.
Oh, yeah.
I only had a terabyte to begin with.
Yeah.
And we're shooting in 1080p, 60 frames per second.
Oh, yeah.
I believe. Yeah.
That's
going to take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
Plus the little, this guy right here, the little blah, blah, blah. You can't see it if you're only listening.
Oh, yeah. The waveform. Yeah.
That, like, rendering that as a separate kind of thing takes up a bunch of space.
Okay. I do like it though.
Yeah, but I've used up 3/4 of my hard drive so far.
Yeah.
So I need to get more memory. Look, this is insane to me.
Okay.
The most cost-effective size for an internal hard drive for my computer, because it has just one like card hard drive. It's an what's that,
You're asking the wrong guy.
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but you know what? It's basically like a laptop hard drive or smaller. Like it's an SSD. It's not a hard drive, but you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, for a hard drive though, which I have none of right now, the most cost-effective size is 8 terabytes. And that is only like $150 right now. 8 terabytes for $150. That's insane to me as a person who was born in the 90s.
Yeah, seriously, we're born in the era where computers sounded like
They really... until you said that, I had forgotten, because my computer makes some noises sometimes.
Yeah.
But I remember now as a kid trying to get onto cartoonnetwork.com
Yeah.
to play the Dragon Ball Z games and the Toonami games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the generic Toonami games. And like there was a cool racing game and stuff, and a Bionicle game. And listen, guys, no, wait, that was on lego.com. Anyway, listen, guys. I kept getting in trouble because my mom was like on the phone, and I'd be like, can I go on the computer? And she'd be like, no. And I'd be like, but they're different. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm a kid.
Wait, can I crowdsource something real fast?
Yeah.
Okay, there was this game I played as a kid. This flooded back into my brain.
Okay.
I think about it often.
Yeah.
It was this Tarzan game.
Oh.
It was a side-scrolling platformer. It was real janky. Like, it looked great when I was a kid, right? But yeah, I'm sure it's like super janky.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that game. It was on Disney.go.com, whatever, you know. That game was so much fun. I'm sure it's just gone.
Probably. Well,
but if anybody knows where I can find it, not that, I mean, there are probably so many of those Tarzan games. Because like I tried looking it up before, but there was like this semi 3D like side-scrolling platformer. That wasn't it.
No.
No.
We
like,
went 2D.
I'm talking like 5 frames of animation for the walk cycle, like JPEGs, like kind of thing. But it was so much fun. And the thing that gets into me is the sound effects and the music. I couldn't replicate it to you right now, but if I heard it, I would be taken back to my childhood, like immediately. So if anybody knows what I'm talking about, at least tell me that you remember that game, even if you don't know where to find it.
Yeah, you've got your homework assignment number 1 for today, right there. Now, there is other stuff we want to talk about today.
Oh, there is?
No, not really.
Okay, yeah. So
how we wanted to talk about combat a little bit.
Okay, a little bit about combat.
And how much flavor do you need in combat? Do you just unscrew the top on the salt and, or like, do we take the smallest pinch, or like, and what I'm talking about here when I say flavor in combat, I'm talking about the stuff, the descriptions, right? Like what's going on. Because not only are you then saying, like I'm moving to here, or, you know, moving an actual piece or a digital piece, you know, your character around on the board. But then you're, you know, describing how that happens. And sometimes that's important and sometimes it's not, maybe, I don't know. Like I've heard examples of both.
Yes.
Like I've heard campaigns, I've listened to people playing where they've described everything in excruciating detail, and excruciating was the right word for it.
Yeah, that's hard to sit through.
Yeah.
If they're describing every single, you know, I think that there are some people who want to make every combat encounter like their character's time to shine in some way. When, you know, you just hit the goblin with a sword, man. Like
that's a good point.
Why like you can just hit the goblin with a sword.
Yeah. In an extended campaign, your character doesn't always have to show off. Yeah.
Especially since combat is such an integral part of the D&D system. Like it doesn't have to be, I guess. You could run an entire campaign with no combat.
You could do a low combat campaign.
And it would be fine. You could do an entire campaign with no combat at all. And it could still be a lot of fun.
It's still always an option, isn't it? You know, like I
That's
don't know.
true.
Could you
Well,
you could, I guess, tell your characters, hey, combat is not allowed.
that
We're never
seems
rolling for initiative. If you try to punch someone, you'll make an athletics check, and then they'll punch you back and probably kill you or whatever. I don't know.
well. I think that's like an agreed upon ahead of time type thing. I don't think
You were right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like if you got a group of people and they all wanted that, like a no combat D&D experience,
and they don't want D&D.
Yeah, they probably don't want D&D.
There are other role-playing systems that they would maybe prefer.
Yeah,
but hey,
that's true.
D&D is also flexible, so I get it. You know, if you want to just use what you're, it's kind of like using like one of those game maker programs or kits or things like that.
Like Mario Maker.
Like Mario Maker, or maybe more like it's like using RPG Maker to make like a fighting game or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's not meant to do that. Like, technically, if you're clever enough, you can find a way, probably.
Some people would see that as an interesting challenge.
Right.
But
it's not ideal, and you probably shouldn't use the tool for that.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of similar to using a screwdriver to hit a nail.
Hit a nail. Yep, that's what I was about to say too. I know. Yep.
It just always happens like that.
No, it's true.
Yeah. It's like using a toothbrush to clean your what? I don't know.
Did you notice we're wearing similarly colored shirts again?
I did notice that. Yeah. Yeah, actually, as soon as you unzipped your jacket, I was like, oh, we got the same color. I actually thought they were even closer. Yeah, you know what? In person, they are.
Yours is a bit darker.
There are these like stripes of the exact same color on mine.
You know, if I hadn't looked back at our previous video recorded episodes, I would have told you I definitely had worn this shirt before, but I haven't.
Huh.
I know.
This is so this one's new. Guess where it's from? It's from Stitch Fix.
H&M. Oh.
Our sponsor, Stitch Fix. Oh, hey, you know, that's something I got to talk to you about.
Okay. Yeah.
So you guys might see some Amazon links in the description for this video.
Some affiliate links.
Because we have an Amazon affiliate account.
Oh, did you get that to work?
I thought I did not.
Okay.
But then they sent me an email yesterday saying that I have to use the link for 3 items within 90 days or my account will be deleted. Oh. And I was like, it worked? Because the first time it didn't.
It didn't work.
They required that we had a website set up ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
This time I gave them the YouTube URL first, I think, and then our website URL second, which, by the way, we have a website.
I didn't even know that.
Sorry, we don't have a website. That's not what I meant. I meant we have a domain name.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right. So we have a domain name. I gave them that second, and I guess they just didn't check to see if there was a website there because we already gave them the YouTube as the primary thing.
Yeah. It's like when you put a reference on your resume, most of the time they don't check those.
No.
It's just a formality.
Right.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah. So
well, we should use that then.
Right. Well, I don't feel obligated to use our affiliate link. But also remember, like, it doesn't. I don't think it hurts you to use it. Like, it doesn't cost anybody extra. We just get some kickback from that. My plan was to use it myself, though, to get equipment for the show.
That would have been smart.
I was going to get the microphone stand and stuff for this guy here. He's just standing on a box on a table thing. Yeah, I don't know.
It's
a table, but it's folded up right now.
It's like a crafting table. It's a pretty nice table.
Yeah, it's Anna's sweet table from IKEA.
Yeah. I was gonna say I should have done that, but actually Sweetwater had a really nice deal.
Yeah, no. Go with Sweetwater for the fancy equipment.
Yeah, for the show and the.
I was just gonna get a cheap mic stand, which I still plan to. Anyway, So yeah, if you start seeing affiliate links, those are actual affiliate links, and anything that you buy, any normal product you buy on Amazon for like 48 hours after using our link, counts for us somehow.
Yeah, like if you
who let us do this?
If you use the link,
what person
I
gave us permission for that. I don't know.
Yeah, you use the link, and you don't have to buy the thing it links to. If you buy anything,
right? Yeah, it's anything
after using the link.
But
it comes to us for some reason.
It does tell us what you buy.
Oh yeah, be careful because it tells. Well, it doesn't tell us who buys it.
No,
it just says what has been purchased.
It just says what has been purchased.
Yeah.
So, but hey, maybe we could play a fun guessing game and try to guess who it was.
Yeah. Well, right now we can do that because we know everybody.
That's what I'm saying.
Who watches the video.
Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Anyway, so about that was a nice tangent. About the combat, though. Again.
Okay. Yeah.
What you were saying, which I think is a great idea, is rather than trying to, for each person's turn, give a really detailed description.
Mm-hmm.
A cool way of doing it. Oh, in fact, here to add on what you even said before, a cool way of doing it could be everybody just like says mechanically what they're doing this turn.
Mm-hmm.
Then at the end of the round, you describe together what has just happened.
Right.
For that round.
Because I think that achieves two things. One, it does the same thing where it helps people feel important, like they're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if all the characters miss, you can still make it sound like an epic battle.
Right. Yeah. And since you know what happened with each character, you can explain why they missed and stuff like that.
Right,
like,
exactly.
You missed because he happened to be running this way to slash at this other, but like they didn't take their turn yet, so they were standing completely still.
Right, but really,
actually it happened at the same instant. It just you don't see that.
Right. It would present an interesting challenge because it's all technically happening simultaneously, but there has to be a turn order for it to work mechanically. Because of that, it would make an interesting challenge to actually try to make sense of what has happened, especially in a big party like ours. But also what that does is it helps, I think, to remind the characters that that was only 6 seconds.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because I think it's easy to forget that a round of combat is only 6 seconds. Because I feel like a lot of people are like, I should be able to do more stuff. Mm-hmm. But then, you take a step back and you're like, oh, like how many things, 6 seconds is simultaneously not a lot of time and as much time as you need.
Right.
Right. For the purposes of that. And I think that it's just, it makes everything, because a lot of stuff happens in a round. Like one fireball is cast, but that's not the only thing that happened, right? Mm-hmm. So like all this stuff is going on, and like, I don't know. I think it would create cool imagery in everyone's head.
Yeah, exactly. Also, less chance to miss a detail of what's going on in the battle.
Mm-hmm.
And those details can be important. I prefer it over something like I've seen, describing what's going on in the combat in front of each person's turn in case they've missed it or things like that.
Mm-hmm. That's
which you have to do some of.
Yeah.
You definitely have to do that a little bit just to like, hey, this is going on right now. This is going on.
Because oftentimes a player is probably trying to figure out what they're going to do on their turn during other people's turns. So they might not have been paying attention, or they might not have been following what was going on.
Right.
So it's nice to throw in those details ahead of time.
Right. Exactly.
Just to let them know where they stand.
Yep.
In the situation.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely. And also, I think is a good way to double check that you didn't accidentally skip anybody or miss anybody in the turn order.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
my character didn't do anything this turn, I guess.
You're like, where were you on initiative? Oh, you were supposed to be in the middle? Well, we'll figure it out,
Well, better luck next game. You're not playing anymore, I guess. I don't know.
Well, your character blinked.
That's a spell. You can't.
I meant it as the spell, but then I realized that it could be taken at like literally as blinking, and then I thought maybe that's better if people think that's what I meant. Okay. Yeah.
Actually, so in The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin, this is a book. I talk about books. I don't know. I'm a boring person, so I don't have my own experiences to. No, he talks about how in the Tai Chi push hands world championship, at that level of. Do you know what Tai Chi push hands is?
I know what Tai Chi is.
All right, Tai Chi is like gentle martial arts practice to master control of your body and flowing through movements. And Tai Chi push hands is wrestling, but you have to keep your hands on the other person.
Okay, I've done that before. Yes,
yeah,
we've done that. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So Tai Chi push hands, basically, it's like sumo wrestling in its rules. It's almost exactly sumo wrestling, but I think it allows joint locks.
Oh, does it?
Or something along those lines.
I thought you weren't allowed to grab.
There are interesting rules on the grabbing. Yeah, no, you can't grab very much, but you might be able to. I don't remember.
Well, anyway, that's not important. Yeah.
The thing is, he describes how at that level they look for the small things that are as small as somebody blinking, right? Like, and you wait for that moment to do. Now, having some experience in that sort of thing, I can say that you're not actually waiting for them to blink. You're not like thinking that. You just feel a lapse in their like when they blink, you feel like a lapse in their ability to prevent you from attacking.
That's a good way to describe it. Because that's true with martial arts in general. You just get a feeling for when the right moment is to do something, just after practicing and practicing and practicing it.
Yeah, it's an extra sense that's built off of understanding the physics of how somebody moves,
right?
Like, and not understanding it mathematically, but physically, right? Like, by interacting with that enough, you get like how they can move from where they are
in a way that you probably couldn't understand mathematically.
Yeah, your brain wouldn't be able to process that fast enough,
right?
It does help though.
Sure.
It gives you a good like heuristics to test out, because things like that.
Because understanding how techniques in martial arts work helps you figure out workarounds if you can't do that exact thing.
Yeah.
And it helps you extrapolate other instances where you can do the same thing as well. Because sometimes, sometimes there are multiple instances where you can do the same thing, even if it might not feel like you can.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I guess it doesn't have to go any further than that, but
yep, that's enough of my nerd stuff. We'll get back to D&D. So
yeah.
Do you ever feel that, like, is D&D nerdy right now?
Yeah.
It is still? Okay.
Yeah.
What makes it nerdy?
It's exactly like fantasy football. But it's not about football.
Okay.
So it's nerdy.
No, so listen.
Yes.
It's not exactly like fantasy football.
No, it's not. But it is similar in a lot of ways.
What are the similarities?
More so than I would have ever thought.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know anything about fantasy football. I really don't.
So fantasy football is kind of like this.
You pick your players.
Right. And then based on how they all perform.
Yeah. In real life.
In real life, in their games that week.
Yep. You get stats.
And that gives you points and things like that. And tracking people's stats helps you figure out like how they might do next week, or which players you should drop or pick up for your next week, or things like that.
Right.
Like, should you trade somebody away or whatever.
But you're basically, well, I guess some people use it primarily as gambling.
Yeah, exactly. Some people use it as gambling, and it's just like, I pick whatever I want. And some people really try to follow it. But here's the thing.
I guess, is it more like investment? if you try to follow the trends and everything, I guess maybe.
Not guaranteed to beat the market.
Right.
And you're really not guaranteed in fantasy football to beat anybody. But
right, exactly.
I think the main difference is what you're doing actively. In D&D, in fantasy football, the numbers are the thing.
Yes.
In D&D, the numbers support the main thing, which is using your imagination. right? Like telling a story, like becoming fully invested in this. And I think that's where the line is drawn. Like you're a nerd if you allow your mind to be fully invested in a separate, non-real thing.
Yes, I think you're a nerd if you don't completely let go of that part of your childhood that kept you, I guess, I don't know, not like naive, but free in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, what's the opposite of cynical?
Hopeful?
Yeah.
Maybe. No, that's not the exact opposite. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because I think that people who would say that something like D&D is a waste of time or dumb or whatever are people that have embraced the idea that that um trying to find a way out of the inevitability of how miserable life is childish.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
or something
Or
like
even,
that.
yeah, even not addressing directly that, how miserable things are for maybe most people, or it's not clear who's miserable and who's not always.
Right.
But
Right.
not addressing that directly, it means that you're in denial, and I guess that's what a nerd is. Or not even that, just, yeah, I guess it is like hope,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
It is like hope. And the people who are in despair because of their lack of hope, I guess misery loves company,
yeah,
right? Like they
yeah,
just want to
yeah.
make
That's
people
true.
who still have that, and still know how to bring it out, um, feel bad about that because they feel bad, maybe, or they never had the ability to imagine like that. I mean, when you consider mental differences in people like aphantasia, which is a sort of a new phenomenon that, a new phenomenon that people have been talking about,
Mhm.
which apparently, like my wife, has very low levels of Fantasia? That's not what it would be called. Anyway, she's like close to aphantasia. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say
No, I have no
aphantasia?
idea what you're talking
So
about.
this is the aphantasia is the inability to see things in your mind's eye,
Oh,
or
yes.
hear things in your mind, or smell things in your mind, or stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I had a conversation like this
Hmm.
with Colin and Carly actually.
Yeah.
Um, about how Carly has trouble with visualizing things.
Yeah.
They were talking about paint
Yeah.
and like painting the walls,
Hmm.
and she was having a hard time like being able to see what the paint would look like on the walls.
Right.
You know, yeah, that's what you mean, right?
Well, yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Yeah, and that one's a tough one too because lighting plays into it, and so like you got to get the new RTX graphics cards in your brain so you can really
Yeah,
get the ray tracing going.
and I understand because um the like palette cards that they give you, they don't really look like what it's going, even in the same light, they don't
Right,
look
the
like what it's going
finish
to
is a
look
little
like.
different, and
Right.
like it's not flat; it's like bumpy from the paint roller.
Right.
And
So I get it. So actually a lot of the colors that they chose, they weren't totally happy with, but once they were on the wall, they looked better actually.
yep, that can happen.
So most of
Maybe they just try to make the cards all look slightly uglier.
yeah, like well, maybe. Well, I remember a specific instance because I think that happens with almost everybody with paint specifically.
Mhm.
Not that this is too interesting, but Jen,
Nope, I'm bored out of my mind.
because Jen looked, they had a color picked out for their dining room,
Mhm.
and Jen looked at it and she was like, that's gonna be too dark. I don't know. And then after they painted it, she, recently she was over and she looked at it and she was like, I was wrong. It looks great. It is not as dark as I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be.
Well,
So, but
that's one thing too, because I could imagine, yeah, like the swirls on the ceiling above us here. I can imagine those in
mhm.
my head in any color that I want.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard to pick one, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if I said like, all right, random color, it's like usually going to be red because you're wearing red and I'm wearing red.
Mhm.
But I can basically imagine it, because I have like I'm almost at the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm very close to the opposite end of the spectrum from aphantasia, which is like having a very vivid
Really?
ability to see in my mind. Yeah,
I'm not good at it.
but I have to like turn it on. It's not like
okay.
it's not like it's just by default that lamp shows up in my head. Well, now it's doing it because I can, I'm talking about it, but like it doesn't show up perfectly and clear. It's almost like a ghost or something like that. Like, like it there. Yes, I can think there's a lamp in my head, but it kind of just
It's like the ethereal plane lamp.
Yeah, it's kind of just an empty echo of nothing. But if I look at a detail, I might see it. But I could also imagine the whole thing. I don't know. What about with you? What about your dreams? Because I think it might be tied, but I'm not sure if it's actually closely related or not.
My dreams, if I remember them, are first of all, I've tried a few times. I've never been able to achieve what's that called?
Lucid dreaming?
Yeah, lucidity. I've never been able to do it. I've really wanted to because it sounds fun and cool.
I've gotten to the point where I knew I was dreaming, but I couldn't not do what I was supposed to in the dream.
Okay, that's happened to me too.
That's happened a few times.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've gotten fully lucid dreaming before.
Well, I said that to somebody, I forget who it was, and they were just like, "Oh, just look at your hands in the dream and then you'll take control." And I was like, "Well, how do I do that if I'm not in control?" Yeah. But anyway, something about hands, I guess, in dreams is something.
Well, part of it is they say to do stuff like look at your hands or look at a thing. But a lot of the time my dreams are in third person. And I see myself acting.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot too. Yeah. The interesting thing about my brain too, this is somewhat related. So when it comes to picturing things, I don't know how much you know about psychology or the mapping of the brain or anything. I don't know a lot. I minored in psychology, so I don't know a lot really. But they're two distinctly separate areas of your brain when it comes to remembering, recalling information. One of them is for human faces, and the other one is for everything else. And that's it. There is literally one part of your brain that is dedicated entirely to remembering human faces and what they look like. Some people have something called face blindness, where that part of their brain kind of like doesn't really exist at all, and so they can't really differentiate.
I've met at least one person with that.
I have that part of my brain. I think is not as developed because I cannot visualize another person's face.
That's a good point.
Like I can't do it.
You know what? Like, so my imagination is usually very vivid. I also almost never remember somebody's eye color.
No, I don't. No, absolutely
right.
not.
Like, and with you specifically, when I think about your face, I can't tell whether you have a beard or not.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, because it's been both.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's been both back and forth.
Yeah.
So like, I don't see like what is going on with your face now. That's not what I see in my head.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've had this beard pretty much.
It's been a lot of years.
Yeah. Well, probably about half of the time that you've known me, right? No, less than that.
Yeah. Less than half.
Less than half, I guess. I forgot we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So what I remember about people though, and what I can visualize, I can remember what their hair looks like. And I remember the general shape of their body. I can remember what somebody's voice sounds like, and I can think about that. And I can remember what their glasses look like if they wear glasses.
I know what Boxxy's face looks like. I can see her eye color.
Maybe it's because she wears so much makeup.
It might be. The makeup might work.
Because
her eyes are gigantic.
You said that, and I'm like, I think I can remember. I don't remember her eye color, but I do remember kind of what she looks like.
Yeah.
Weird. Hi, I'm Boxxy. Anyway.
Boxxy, if you're in the chat, drop a. No, what do you do? What do you? I don't
Boxxy-
know how this works.
Boxxy's almost definitely older than us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She would have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That's all about that. Okay.
It's good to see you, though. It's
yeah.
good to see
Well, no, I'm not making any comments. You look great for your age. Boxy.
Anyway,
So this is off topic completely. Yeah. It doesn't matter. So in conclusion, I can't visualize things very well either.
Right.
If I'm being honest.
Right.
Especially especially faces. But objects and things like that, no, it doesn't stick out to me. I also have trouble differentiating color. Like I can see all of the color wheel colors and I can tell what they are. I'm not color blind completely, but I definitely don't have a very complete range of colors in my vision. Because there were some colors, like when Colin and Carly were discussing paint, there were some colors on there, and they were like, man, this one's like pinkish, and I was like, that looks like gray. Like that doesn't look pink in the slightest to me, Yeah. And they were like, well, this has some blue hues in it, and I'm like, no. No, it doesn't. You're lying to me right now.
Yeah. Well,
in fact, that pink one and that blue one that you said, they look the same. Basically the same.
Yeah.
To me. But, I'm not like, there are a lot of people who can see like really precisely the difference in colors.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you see colors?
So on back in the day, on AOL Instant Messenger.
Okay.
Anna and I used to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And she made her font colors this. They were like the colors of her backpack. So it was like, at the time, this was a cool color for your backpack to be. It was like brown with these cyan like bubbles on it.
I know the type. Yeah.
It was a Jan Sport.
Yep, one of them Jan Sports.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very fashionable.
It was just
very stylish.
You're bringing me back to the 7th grade, man.
Right. So what I tried to do was make, like, without her being, like, when she was offline, so she couldn't see it, I tried to make my font colors the inverse of hers. And it was off by so far that we couldn't stand looking at the result. When she typed a line of text and then I typed a line of text, they'd show up and we'd be like, ah! Yeah. So she made me change it back right away.
Okay.
And then we figured something out and fixed it and then made it work.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's how it went.
Okay. So you're kind of in the same boat as me then. Yeah. It sounds like. Okay.
Well,
cool.
So when I see colors next to each other, I can tell them apart. I've had a little tiny bit of training in that respect.
Oh, okay.
Because I've looked at so many color palettes and things like that. But yeah, like if I try to pick out that purple color of the thing I'm pointing to over there,
yeah,
on the computer, it will not be anywhere near the same color.
No,
I'll be 100% confident this is it. Well, now of course I won't actually be because I can't be, but I would be 100% confident this is my best guess, and it'll just be not even close.
Well, for me, I think like if you kept it there and there were colors on the screen, I would, if they were all purple, I would potentially just pick one at random and be like, maybe it's that one, because I wouldn't be able to tell at all.
Well, that's, I think, where the skill comes from. You start like that and then you adjust it and you learn, how to adjust for that kind of thing.
Assuming that there's a thing that gives you the right answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like the method with dials on, I'm pointing at the mixer over here.
Yeah.
With dials on musical equipment, they say just put all the dials at 12 o'clock straight up.
Okay.
Right in the middle of their range. And then adjust them. And if it's better, adjust it more that way, and if it's better, adjust it more that way, and you just do that with each dial.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, you just do that until you feel like you like the sound.
How would you?
There are some weird things
true.
that can happen. You can be approaching a local maximum in terms of quality, where like if you turn this one up, then it's going to mess up one of the other dials. So there is some stuff that you should probably learn
to figure out. Yeah.
But if you have to figure it out on your own and and you have no other option, that's something that can work.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And maybe randomizing the order that you start them in, you'll actually probably figure out everything eventually.
You know, the one instance I think that sticks out to me where for colors, it was actually hard. I feel like the world map that I made for the campaign looks really bad because I am not sensitive to the colors. So to me,
I can only remember. Well, I don't know if I remember the color of the water clearly.
Well, I can't change.
I can remember the color of the
yeah, because I did a state map style. Well, and I'm talking about for the one I sent most recently.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That had all the states kind of separated, and they're all color like how a regular globe would look.
Right.
Right. No two colors next to each other, or no two colors right next to each other.
Yep.
I feel like it probably doesn't look very good, but I didn't really, if I'm being honest, I didn't really pay too much attention to putting colors next to each other that complement each other. I really didn't worry about that. But I just mean that like the colors themselves, I probably don't look very good. Because because it was one of those, I don't know what they're called. The things where you can like move a thing on a gradient and pick the exact color that you want. Yeah. Hex, whatever. It had one of those. And I started to mess around with it. And as soon as I did, I was like, oh, I messed it up and I don't think I can fix it. So I just basically messed around with all of it until it was something. Anyway, maybe I should get feedback from somebody who can see colors better than I can.
I mean, well, yeah, I guess that's why we all do different stuff.
Right, exactly. And you know, the like the inverse or like the opposite sense from that when it comes to vision, apparently some people it's like the two qualities of vision are being able to differentiate color and being able to track moving objects. I can do that pretty well.
Right.
Track moving objects. So, you know, that's kind of where it's made up. I have poor vision. You know, I wear contacts. So I guess, you know, I don't know, take that as it is. If this was any, you know, former time in the world, I would be useless.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah, no, you'd be dead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, you don't have to.
No, yeah. I think actually though, people got around without glasses for a lot of history. In fact, they only really like started being a thing when people were reading. Like people were like, man, there's all this information written down. I wish my eyes would work on it so I could save paper.
You ever see Dr. Stone, the anime?
Nope.
It's pretty good. The premise is there's a mysterious thing that happens this happens in episode 1, so it's not spoilers.
Right.
There's a thing that happens that turns everybody in the entire world to stone.
They all get stoned.
Yep. Like just like everybody, every person and every bird, but not other animals. Interestingly enough. I think those are the only two. Well, I don't remember. But this one, something happens. One guy is able to break out of it, and he's like a super genius. Also, he's a high schooler. Of course, it's anime, right?
Okay, yeah. This is all good. It's making sense.
So he's like a super genius scientist guy.
Mhm.
So it's been thousands of years, and the Earth has taken over again, and like basically everything man-made. It was enough time that everything previously man-made is gone now. So it's basically about him trying to speed up technology with like what he knows of science to try to get humanity back to where they were.
Right.
And I have to pause for a second to remember why I thought of this in the first place. There was a relevant thing. Oh, there were like people that might, I'm not going to get into the details, but there are people who weren't super geniuses that also kind of came out of the stone, but because they were, but that was like way before he did. So like they had their children and children's children. So they were still pretty primitive with their technology because they didn't know like how, I mean, like if I told you to make like a glass beaker from scratch with just what was around you, like,
yep, I can do it.
How many you could?
Yep. Right now.
Okay.
I could do it with just things in this room.
Well, that's
just
not.
Give me some sand and some soda ash and the right equipment and I can do it.
Right. Exactly. So.
Well, the soda ash you can make from seaweed if you dry it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
But so like it was just interesting because it's an interesting show because there's this one guy who was like a really good fighter, except at long range he was useless because he had the fuzzy sickness.
Like an astigmatism?
Yeah, like he
just had
poor vision. But they didn't have anything they could do about it. So it was like debilitating.
Right.
Like he was really good at fighting in close quarters.
Right.
But as soon as they got further than like 15 feet away, you like couldn't see him anymore. Yeah. I just thought that was an interesting thing because it's an interesting concept because that had to have had an effect on people. And I think one of the reasons why it's really actually pretty common for people to have poor vision now is because it doesn't matter. Because we do have glasses.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, what if it was like a peanut allergy situation or whatever?
Right.
Or like people stopped eating peanuts, more allergies, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like as soon as we fixed the problem in some mechanical way, it wasn't really a problem anymore. So people.
So you're saying we should selectively breed out all people with glasses?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. I'll get to work on that.
So I'm not having kids.
Yeah. My wife has glasses, so.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Good thing you don't have kids.
Yeah. We have a dog, though.
Ooh, bad vision dog.
Oh, no. Well, we don't know yet. She's only 4.
Maybe it's true, though, because my dog, Max, he's like 12. He can't see anything. He's basically blind.
Yeah.
He can't hear either. He can only smell. That's the only way that you can get around.
That's all dogs need.
Yeah, it's true.
They're happy with that.
It's their best sense, so
yeah,
it's fine.
It would be like if you and I could see still, but we couldn't smell or taste.
Wouldn't really be a big deal.
Yeah.
It'd be inconvenient.
Yeah, we'd be like, man, I miss being able to smell and taste. But we also wouldn't die.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, let's talk about some homebrew.
Okay.
You have one?
I got at least one.
Okay, we'll just do one.
Yeah,
we'll start with one.
They're a little bit on the longer side, both of them. So probably just one is probably fine.
I like some long brews.
Okay.
A nice tall one.
Do you want the one that is? I know which one you want. I'm not even gonna ask. I know which one you want to.
All right, give me a yeah.
So this is a Paladin Oath.
Okay.
This is called. Oh, and this is from.
Wait. Should I guess the name?
This is from Marshmallow Figs. I think we had Marshmallow
Figs. Alex, welcome back, my dude.
You want to try to guess what this is?
Yeah, should I guess what it's called?
How many guesses? 3 guesses?
No, like once you describe it, or once you start describing it. Or will it be too obvious then?
No, I should just tell you what it's called.
Okay, go for it.
Trust me on that.
All right.
This is the oath of getting blackout drunk and wandering into a church.
All right.
Okay.
Yes.
It's pretty self-explanatory. This is a paladin who got blackout drunk and wandered into a church, and now he's a paladin.
So is it like that low point in the movie where, you know, the character like walks in and they're like, man, I gotta turn my life around. Or is it like they wake up like the Hangover style and they're like, why do I feel different?
Yeah, that one.
What did I do last night?
Yeah, it's definitely that.
And then
one.
they like throw up and it's like a rainbow or whatever paladins throw up.
Or I guess it's more like they wake up and they're just like, man, everybody should do this. Here are your tenets. Okay. The first one is called Remember the Moment. You always refer to the moment you had your wonderful revelation.
Okay.
So you just talk about it all the time.
Yes.
Did I ever tell you guys about that time I was blackout drunk and I wandered into a church? Yes, you have, you know. Encourage others. Hey, if you had a moment like this, other people can have one too, you know? So you should encourage other people to get blackout drunk and wander into a church. Tenant 3. I think this was the author literally forgetting what one of their tenets were. But I think also that's one of the tenets. I think it's both. Tenant 4, I'm still a little drunk. Pretty much says it all.
Good.
Okay, here are their oath spells. Ceremony, heroism, blur, protection from poison, enemies abound, slow, confusion, divination, awaken, and dawn. I think so. So part of the premise of this, based on I only read half of it before I added it, because what really struck me about this, I think the premise of this is that, and I know you don't have this experience, but when you're drunk, you just feel like you can do anything.
Yeah.
And because of that, like, it's like 50-50 on whether or not it'll work out. Because a lot of the times it does inexplicably. And then a lot of the times it does not.
Right. Because you're drunk.
Because you're drunk, right?
Right.
So the channel the channel divinity is called making it work. So you used your channel divinity to use whatever you have around you, like whatever's there, to just make it work, man. Right? So you instantly gain proficiency in improvised weapons. And you can imbue those improvised weapons with divine power. So first of all, it's treated as a finesse weapon.
Ooh.
All right. And you use a D12 as your damage die.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So your channel divinity is just like you just grab whatever's next to you and you just hit them with it. Like you can just do that now.
This is very unbalanced, but I still love it.
That's fine.
Because of the third one. The third one is if you roll below an 8 on your damage die, just re-roll it until you get an 8 or higher.
I love it.
Yeah. So you really can't roll below an 8. Your second channel divinity is called Emotional Breakdown. So every enemy within 30 feet of you makes a wisdom saving throw, and on a failure, for the next minute, they have to use their bonus action to give you inspiring words to get you to stop crying. They don't need to speak your language or even any language. If the creature has multi-attack, they use one of their attacks to encourage you to stop crying.
So this is SpongeBob breaks down, and even Squidward comes to his aid.
Right.
This is
exactly.
like...
Exactly. You at 7th level, you gain the aura of Sloshed. All right, so you emanate the aura of the buzz you felt when you made your oath. You and all of your allies within 10 feet can choose to join in with this buzz. Before you or an ally make a melee attack with a weapon that they're proficient with, which if you use your channel divinity could be literally anything, you can take a -2 penalty to the attack roll, and if it hits, you add +3 to the damage, which is like a mini Great Weapon Master.
Yeah.
But better, because Great Weapon Master. Well, no, Great Weapon Master is -5 + 5. No, -5 +. No, I don't know.
I think Sharpshooter might be.
Sharpshooter, I think, is the same numbers, but
that's why I was trying to think
ranged,
of it.
yeah.
I think it's a +10. It might be -5 +10.
I really don't care right now.
No, I'll try to figure it out.
At level 15, you get this thing called I really don't care right now. So you're so drunk that you've stopped caring about how cool the enemy thinks they are, and you want to take them down a peg. So once per turn, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can force them to make a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC. On a fail, they lose any resistance they have to any damage type of your choosing for the next minute.
Oh my god, that's really good.
Or if they're immune, they become resistant instead.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I my brain was like, wait, then they get resistance? Like you have to guess or something? But now I know what the word immune means.
If you recall.
I just learned that.
At 20th level, you get woo, where you channel the exact same energy you had with your drunken oath. As an action, you become the beautiful drunk mess you were when you made your oath, right? For 1 minute, you gain the following benefits. Add +5 to your AC.
That makes sense.
Yep, you're unpredictable, right?
Yeah.
All enemy creatures that are near you also start to stumble. If an enemy within 30 feet of you tries to move, they have to, if they try to move at all, they have to make a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failure, their movement stops and they fall prone as they trip over themselves. And you can do that once per long rest. There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty. I would say it's not balanced, maybe. So marshmallow figs. If you were looking for any feedback, I'd say probably we want to add a little bit more balance to that by giving them a couple more spells or something like that. Like, because when you're drunk, you don't know the limitations of a spell book. That's what I was thinking.
I'm just gonna do it.
That'd be a fun thing. Like you just can cast a different spell, but you still think it's the same one. Like it just comes out wrong, but it still is whatever spell you wanted. It's explained like that.
Yeah, you like. It's like when you drunk like write a note to somebody and you add like a bunch of extraneous details, but then leave out a bunch of important details. And so when you do that, it becomes a different spell entirely.
It's exactly that. Exactly that. It's like you're trying to text somebody while you're drunk or you're on the phone with them.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you talking about? Except this time the words that you're saying are magic words and something weird happens. So yes, please, Marshmallow Figs, if you could revise that and send that back to us.
Yeah.
Whatever.
On my desk.
We're huge fans, though.
9 a.m.
Huge fans. Well, I have some homebrew today.
Yes, please. I'd love to hear it.
So I actually told you about this one already.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll talk about it. So this is it's an item. I didn't really think too much about what it was going to be, so I went with belt. It's going to be a belt that you wear. It gives you +1 to your armor class.
Mm-hmm.
And it sets your dexterity at 24, your dexterity score.
Oh, yeah, you briefly mentioned this. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Which, by the way, that will give you +8 to your AC.
Yes.
Because you already get +1 plus the dexterity, assuming that you're not wearing armor, actually.
Right.
But
Right.
Yeah.
If you are...
It caps...
It would...
If you wear armor, it caps how much of your dexterity you can use for your armor class.
Mm-hmm.
To 2, I think, or something.
You won't need it, though.
Yeah.
You don't need armor anymore.
Trust me.
Take that off.
Yeah, I'll take the +.
Which totally makes sense. This works for what this is.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect.
Okay. Continue. Yes.
So, there, it can't all be sunshine and rainbow. It can be, like, literally, it's possible for that to just be the whole thing. But this is not just any belt. This is the belt of the hawk. So the effect...
Okay. I'm remembering now.
The effect of this item is that any deeds you accomplish while wearing it are known by everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person in existence knows what you've done while wearing the belt.
Mm-hmm.
I should say, like, accomplished. Anything that you accomplished, like and it'll frequently come up in conversation with you. All right, so like, you walk into a shop and they'll be like, "Dude, have you heard about the guy who slayed the ancient green dragon?" And you'll be like, "Yes, I have heard of this guy who slayed the ancient..." "Did you mean the one like last week?" And they'll be like, "Yeah." And they'll be like, and then you can ask them, "Where'd you hear about that?" And they'll be like, "I don't know. Everyone's talking about it."
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know. I heard about this. No one's going to know exactly where they heard about it. That's fine. That's magic for you. All right. But here's the drawback. Drawback.
Depends who you ask.
Depends who you ask and depends what you needed to do.
Yeah, that's true.
No one's going to know it was you, and no one can make that connection.
Yeah, like one of those things where, like, hey, you look a lot like the guy who slayed the ancient green dragon.
They're going to frequently be like, "Dude, wait a minute. That belt, that looks just like the Birdman's belt." Birdman, right? But is that like the Birdman belt? Dude, that's so cool.
Is that like a replica?
Is that like, yeah, that looks just like his belt.
Dude, that's so cool.
Dude. Is it like signed? Did you get him to sign it?
Yeah.
No one's going to know it was you.
Yeah, like magically. Like they can't know.
Cannot know.
They can't know it's you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that could be really bad. Like if somebody tells you that you need to go and kill this dragon.
Oh, that other guy did it.
Right.
I guess the problem solved. Why would I give you a reward? You're not the one who did it.
Darn it. Right? You can't wear your belt for that one.
Yeah.
So then you're in a bunch of trouble if you don't have a backup plan. But for things where, like even stuff like, all right, I'm going to jump over this chasm.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just, people are going to be like, "Dude, did you hear? Did you hear that somebody set like a new world record longest jump? It's insane. It was like 85 feet. It was like 85 feet. That's incredible. People are great."
Yeah. Just, and you know what? They're wearing a cool belt. That's all I know.
They'll be able to describe the situation in varying levels of detail, maybe depending on their intelligence score or something.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe if they're more intelligent, they'll be able to describe it in more detail, but they still just won't know it's you.
Yeah, they just...
Which is just even funnier then.
Yeah.
I think. And so the reason I had this idea...
This is the best.
I was just thinking about Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
think about him a lot. I think I saw someone's tweet that they said, I study a picture of Tony Hawk every night. So if I'm one of those people who meets him in person, I won't be one of those people who meets him in person. Because I think weekly, maybe every other week, he shares some sort of story about how he was in like a recent one, he was at the doctor and they looked at his like papers and they were like, Anthony Hawk, huh? Are you related to Tony Hawk? And he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm directly related to him.
I am directly related to Tony Hawk.
Like, yes, okay.
That's so funny.
And I just wish that I could be that kind of famous where no one would know it's me, but I could still do amazing things.
Yeah, but like
because if you could skateboard like Tony Hawk, oh my god,
geez, yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Even I've seen some of the cool stuff he's done. Have you seen the one where he was like, I think he was the first ever person to do that corkscrew thing?
Oh yeah, his crazy like horizontal loop.
Yeah,
deal.
That was
they
nuts.
built that in his skate park. In his warehouse.
Yeah. Because it took him a bunch of tries.
Yeah, a lot of crashes.
Which just goes to show you how hard that must have been.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just skateboarding, I think, is wiping out like that.
Yes. A lot of skateboarding too, because the stuff that they do is so difficult. Like we see the one try where they get it right.
Yeah.
But really it's the same as a Dude Perfect video where it's like a million tries of them missing, but on the video they show the one where that was right.
It. Yeah. And still, like, the difference between that is like, even with the Dude Perfect videos, like, I would give up.
Right.
Before
regular people would give up.
Yeah.
And Dude Perfect don't. They stick to it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then on top of that, you need a certain level of foundational skill to reach the high level skills in skateboarding.
Exactly. So
it's just like another level of that.
It's just it's impressive.
Not only do you need to not give up when it comes time to do something difficult that'll take you a bunch of tries, you also need to have practiced a lot beforehand.
I think people put way too much emphasis or way too much stake on doing something on the first try.
Yeah.
Because like, how many times does that actually happen?
And does it matter?
Exactly. I mean, you accomplished it either way. Doing something right in some instances, doing something right on the first try is more important than others.
Anytime that time is important. But like, if you attempted to climb Mount Everest 50 times, you went back 50 years to try climbing this mountain, and now you are, let's say you started when you were pretty young. I don't know how young the youngest summit was, but I know that some people in their teens have done it. So let's say you're 17.
Sure.
Now you're 67. You're coming back at this mountain for your 50th try. That's still impressive if you get to the top.
Yeah.
Like equally impressive to a person who did it on their first try. Equally impressive.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I don't think I'd ever try it.
And good on you for not dying on the mountain.
Yeah, 50 times.
Even dying on the mountain is impressive.
Yeah.
Like just getting to the point where that is what happens is impressive. So
yeah. I'm not really going to encourage anybody to go die on a mountain, but if you did, I'd be impressed.
I'm still impressed.
I'm still
impressed that you did that.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
but don't do that. If you have the choice between doing that and not doing that, I would encourage you not to.
Don't be one of the people who does it like right on the path. Because there are people who die like right on the path and then they become landmarks.
Oh, geez. Yeah. That's morbid.
But a lot of people wander off the path and die. And then they're found later. That sort of thing.
Yeah. You ever think...
what are we at?
I was going to say, you ever think about how many people there must be that happens to them and nobody knows? That's kind of sad, but
yeah, the number is roughly known, I believe.
Okay,
because like you don't go without a guide, that sort
A
of thing.
Sherpa.
But yeah, they're pretty much going to be a Sherpa. Yeah. Well, one of the Sherpas. They're part of the Sherpa family. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is just a family.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, that's a family name.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a term.
Yeah. No, they're just people who live there.
It's like Gracie.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like that.
It's
yeah,
like saying Gracie.
There's just like 50 billion people all named that who walk up and down mountains barefoot or whatever. Not actually barefoot, but not too far off sometimes.
Yeah, it's probably closer.
Their equipment isn't as good. Their equipment isn't as good usually. A couple of them die each year too.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Much smaller numbers because they're not trying to like do some of the risky stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean,
they don't always make it.
Mountains are dangerous, man.
Mountains are dangerous. Who put those there?
Balrogs and stuff.
Balrogs.
Yeah.
Those giant stone people who it's not clear if they were like having a war or if they were playing a sport. You know what I'm talking about?
War and sports can be hard to differentiate sometimes.
Yeah, especially with giant mountain people. They might have been like wrestling, or they might have been like trying to wreck each other. It's impossible to know.
Hard to tell. But why didn't they just fly on the back of those eagles, though?
Like at least just have the eagle hold Frodo. He's tiny. He's light. He's easy to carry.
Oh man, there's so many people who get so mad.
Dude, I wonder if it was like a preordained like destiny type thing, because Gandalf needed to die and needed to become Gandalf the White. Like, because he was a pretty important like cause. So
I'm not huge on Lord of the Rings lore.
I've been watching some videos.
I read all the books. I've seen all the movies once, but for some reason the information from it does not stick in my brain.
And there's a lot of information that's not in it too.
That's true too.
Like there's a lot of letters. Like people wrote, like basically Tolkien did a bunch of Q&As about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And unless you study all that stuff, you don't know. You don't know it all.
Let me clarify too. I said I read all the books. I did not read the Silmarillion.
or Children of Hurin, or
no. I read the mainline
the
story
yeah.
and The Hobbit. I read The Hobbit actually a couple times. I still don't remember what happened.
I don't remember what happens because I read The Hobbit as a kid in like 8th-ish, 9th grade, maybe.
And I only saw
8th grade. It was
it
was before they read it in high school, and I was jealous when we got to high school because my class didn't do it. We were honors, but I would stay up super late at night, and so I'd be reading it at like 2 or 3 o'clock,
and it's just not processing.
Yeah, and I'd read, and I'd be like falling asleep at the little desk that I sat at, and then I'd go to sleep, and I don't remember anything from the time I was probably 13 to when I finished college, because that's pretty much how I lived.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks. Also, I watched the first Hobbit movie, but not the other two.
Oh, yeah. I watched I think I watched all 3, actually.
I watched the first one and I wasn't impressed, so I didn't bother watching the other 2.
The other 2 are both things that happen. Like the second one starts with the end of the Hobbit book.
Okay.
And then the other, like that's like the first, I don't know, 30 minutes at most of the 3-hour movie. And then the other stuff is all stuff that happens at like separately.
Right. I did read that they took stuff that was from like notes that.
Right. It's all, it was all stuff from notes. And it was supposed to happen when it happened, I believe. Like, I think it was correct that it happened right after The Hobbit.
Mm-hmm.
But people were really mad about it because to somebody who doesn't get way into that stuff.
Yeah.
It was weird that they would just like add a random war for no reason. And like the whole details about the necromancer and stuff. Well, he's actually in it too, but it's weird that like he would be Sauron and like whatever. But then the people who are really into it are like, but why'd they put Legolas there? Like, why is he there?
Yeah. Well,
and technically he could have been, but he was never mentioned.
There is the distinct possibility that it was a cynical cash grab,
right?
Because making 3 movies would make them more money than making 1 movie.
Yeah.
And that might be all it was.
Yep. But it was still also Peter Jackson, and we know he likes to go big.
He does.
He really likes to go big.
And
I mean, his King Kong movie was basically 2 movies.
Yeah, they just put it into 1 movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never saw that either. I was like, 3 hours for King Kong? No, thanks. That's how I felt about it. I heard it was good though. I probably would.
People liked it.
I would watch it. And it's not like I've never watched a 3-hour movie. I watched The Irishman on Netflix. That was Martin Scorsese. I liked that movie a lot. But I'm digressing terribly now.
Yeah, you want to go watch a movie right now?
Sure.
No, it's dinner time, guys. We're going to see you later.
Yeah, it's time to eat.
Go have your dinner as well.
Okay.
We'll catch you next time. We miss you already.
I miss you so much. You hang up.
I actually do. I do actually miss you. If you're watching this, I can't wait to see you. It is true that I miss you. I'll see you later.